Daniel Markham. I wrote the domain model for domain modeling, and I'd like to give you an update on the essay I've been working on for the last couple of weeks or so. The hamsters have been running around quite frivolously, and hard-working little guys that they are, on a model of learning. By way of introduction, I'm just a code monkey who's doing a book report more than anything else. I've been in software development for over 30 years, helped a bunch of big companies do a bunch of really tough stuff. It was a big hoot, traveled a lot, did a bunch of cool stuff. Now what I want to do is help you and the people like you develop software better and develop technology better. So I have no air. I don't have like a pipe to smoke or a jacket or any of that stuff. The book I'm working on, two books. One is about programming. The other is about critical path learning at scale. And so to do a book about critical path learning, I had to have a model of learning, right? So really wish I didn't need one. Lord knows there's enough models of learning out there in the world, from Dewey going back probably as far as Aristotle. But none of them were consistent, and we've seen so much development in technology over the last 50 years or so that I needed a more complete model that would work for my purposes. And so here we be, okay? So what's the importance of this model? Why would you care about this? Let me tell you. I think this, first of all, the model describes what happens when you go out to learn something. You pick up a book, you go to classes, videos. A good model can show you how to do that better, kind of what you're looking for. Helps describe what happens when a team builds a software product, which is kind of how I got in this stupid nonsense to begin with. It talks about what happens when two or more teams get together to build something. This weird thing happens when you scale out past 3 to 7 people. When you go to 10, 15, 20 people, things start falling apart for various reasons. And without a good model of learning at scale, you don't understand why that happens. Artificial intelligence. We're doing lots of artificial intelligence stuff, frequent stuff, Bayesian stuff, machine learning, deep learning. You need a real model of learning to talk about really what you're doing. And I would really love to dive down on the various AI models, because mainly I'm not really in depth on all of it. Having said that, if you ain't got no model about kind of how learning works in general, I think probably what you're just going to build is a very complicated machine that sort of works like Eliza more than anything else. And finally, we're going to give you some definitions about a bunch of terms we're stuck using whether we want to or not, like hypothesis, mimesis, analysis, abduction, deduction, ton of terms that kind of come into play when we talk about learning. We need some definitions for those terms that work with one another, and instead of just definitions that were developed by various authors on their own. And once you learn all this stuff, you can reason and debug and optimize the process, right? There are 4 levels of learning. There's subjective, there's abstract, there's conversational, and then there's reality itself. And there are 3 categories. There's the qualities we sense about things, there are the objects that we sense, and then there's rules or supplementals about how these things interact with one another. The rules or supplementals are kind of the thing we lay on top of everything to predict what's going to happen. And that's where we all want to go. But we have to start off with subjective qualities, which is the things we perceive. So it's a 12-node model. I'm going to go over it. This is my second essay on this, and I'll talk about it a little more in depth than I did the first time around. This is built on the work of a lot of really famous, smart people that are more famous and smart than I'll ever be, and that's fine with me. I'm not going to footnote or quote this stuff. I would love to. I would love to do a series on each of the nodes, and then we can talk about another series on how each node connects to the other. The role of narrative, for instance, or the role of mimesis. There's a ton of really good stuff, and all this stuff has been developed by great authors. I will try to mention these people, and as the book comes along, of course the book will be footnoted, and I'll send you all kinds of cool places you can play around with on your own. That's about it. It'll be fun. Bring your slide rules and your smart hats. I don't think it'll be too bad. It's kind of cool because we're gonna skate that area you might have visited in college when you wore a toga and drink a lot of beer, which is like, what happens if we put our brain in a jar? Would that be the same as what if life is a simulation? What is the role of postmodernism. There's just a ton of stuff that's related to how people and groups of people learn. Hang on to your hats. I'll be back either later today or tomorrow with the essay, the second part of the essay. I'm Daniel Markham. I will see you on the internet. Also, I need a theme song for this thing. I'm thinking about maybe Bonanza or maybe the Peter Gunn theme. So if you have an idea about the theme song, let me know.